Good morning, wonderful listeners. You've tuned into Post Session Podcast, a podcast filled with the stoke of a surf session and the wise guidance of an ocean voyager. Your water-loving hosts are ready to share this infectious state of mind while encouraging and inspiring you for your next adventure.
I never tire of that intro.
Me either.
It's awesome.
Hey,
Yeah.
I've got to let it out. I'm so excited.
Do you have to
let
it out the way you did on the way here and have to turn around and go home? And okay.
What I mean is I'm about to pinch myself right now.
That would still work with
Okay.
Yeah,
I want to introduce our guests to our wonderful listeners today. I'm super stoked to have with us Miss Curvy Surf Girl herself, Elizabeth, all the way. Exactly, yes. From Hawaii. She is a surfer, visionary, and pioneer of the Curvy Surf Girl movement.
Yeah. She's also, we spent like 15 minutes talking to her already, and she seems pretty awesome.
She's pretty awesome, isn't she?
Yeah, pretty awesome. And she's a model too.
Yeah, she's built a strong community of women surfers. She's a freediver, but she wants to change the status quo in female surfing.
I can't wait to talk about this today.
Right? Yeah. Coming at you from what most would consider a slice of paradise, Hawaii.
And coming at you at what most would consider an ungodly hour.
Yes.
Midnight. Her time.
6 a.m. our time.
6 a.m. Billy, we owe you.
Aloha, Elizabeth.
Aloha, ladies. Thank you so much for having me. And aloha.
Well, I think Elizabeth is going to be the perfect guest for our podcast because on your website, you use the phrase dive deeper. Hello.
That's part
one
of our
segments.
That's one of our segments.
Yeah. And she poses the question, where are the curvy divers and surfers on Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
I know you probably don't know much about us, but Laurel is big into surfing and I'm big into freediving. With our powers combined, we're some kind of water people.
Ding.
But anyway.
And I'm the combination of the two of you.
That's right.
Awesome. I can't wait. So you're actually doing freediving also, not just scuba diving, but are you a scuba diver or a freediver?
She's a freediver.
I'm a freediver. Yeah.
Awesome.
I actually had a panic attack when I went scuba diving because of all of the extra gear. So yeah, freediver all the way. I've actually been freediving as long as I've been surfing. And this is a fun fact that actually nobody really knows. So this is exclusive to your podcast from me to your audience. I actually started Curvy Surfer Girl before I knew that I was going to go that direction. It was the original account was going to be a freediving account. And it was called Mermaid. It was called Mermaid Liz. And I changed the name to Curvy Surfer Girl.
Which was brilliant.
But the whole reason, thank you. That was original from me to the world. But the whole reason I started the page for freediving was I had never in my life seen a plus size woman freediving except myself.
Wow.
And for like literally 3 years, I was bombarded with images of like long, tall, skinny ballerinas underwater. And it hurt me so bad that I was just kind of traumatized by it. I was like, I was always the heaviest girl in any group of divers that I was with. And I loved freediving as much as I loved surfing, but I couldn't convince any underwater photographers to ever take pictures of me. And it was really devastating. Sure. And that was actually the very original concept for this movement was I wanted to see women like me freediving, and I wanted to create a space for it to be okay to take pictures of plus size women underwater.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I started the account with the hopes that I was going to be some like world famous freediver at some point with all these stunningly magnificent, beautiful images underwater with like, one of those blue grids and diving with whales and dolphins and all these incredible places. That was actually my fantasy and my vision that I was trying to bring to life. And I ended up realizing in the midst of all of the free diving that I was trying to organize that it had never been done in surfing either. And I decided to take it in the direction of surfing because as a surfer, I could include free diving.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So that is actually the real deal story of how I started that account that you all know today.
This is super cool because we can talk about freediving today also. And I want to talk about...
She's always a little funny about when it's just surfing.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am.
It's okay. I got both bases covered, guys.
That's right.
Like, you're good.
When we dive deeper, I really want to talk about why there's not curvier women in freediving, and discuss that a little bit because you probably have some insight, Elizabeth. And also, I think it was really smart to change the name because Curvy Surfer Girl has such a better ring than
such
Mermaid
a nice,
yeah, it's more direct, bigger audience,
and it immediately says what you were trying to portray, and so automatically when people come across that account, I think they are, curvy.
This is awesome.
Yes, and it's beautiful. Your page is beautiful.
Thank you. I worked really hard on it, and it felt like a bit of divine intervention that I came to all of the conclusions I did. And I really think the source was the ocean for all of it. So yeah, I'm really thankful that I got to put all that together.
We are too. We are too. For all of us curvy girls who feel like, the representation is something completely different than what the reality is, though. Really, the reality is curvy girls are out in the water all the time. And it's not the stick figure person.
No, right, because most women are just
normal,
sized normally or a
combination
there's a variety. Yeah. But let's not dive too deep.
Okay, let's go into, first up on the docket is post-session notes. What were we doing in the water the last couple of weeks or couple of days? So I know you said you have some surf hair tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you must have been in the water. Let's hear about it.
So I've actually been filming quite a bit of content because tomorrow, now officially, I am celebrating the 1-year anniversary with both of you. It's midnight.
Woo! Yay!
So
1 year
exactly
Curvy
1 year ago today,
wow.
the Curvy Surfer Girl movement was founded. So I have been, and it also giant blessing, I think a woo-woo moment, so to speak. It is simultaneously World Oceans Day today.
Oh.
So it's really like this amazing celebration that we're going to have in this conversation, with your audience. So for the last 72 hours, I have been doing nothing but filming and creating content for the celebration of both World Oceans Day and the Curvy Surfer Girl anniversary. And the waves have been absolutely beautiful. I've been surrounded by my photographers and friends, and just been receiving a lot of encouragement from across the board, family, friends, my Instagram community, to just keep the magic going and the creativity. So I've spent a lot of time in the water on all different sides of the ocean the last 72 hours.
And you guys are organizing for the anniversary a paddle out, right? You want to tell everyone what that is? Can they still get involved?
Yeah, so the paddle out party is going to be on Saturday the 12th. And that's just going to be this very casual, laid back beach environment where you can come meet me, find other members of our community to connect with, surf with, and just have, this community space for women that haven't got to meet each other yet, take pictures, have fun. I'm doing it in partnership with my surf school, Ohana Surf Project. So total beginners and people who have never surfed are more than welcome to attend.
Awesome.
You can take a lesson with Ohana Surf Project. And the more advanced surfers can just go to the outer break, which is breaking at about 4 feet right now. So it's really beautiful. The inside break is breaking at 2 feet. So there's literally something for everyone.
What's your home break? Or what breaker is this at?
This is at Publix, which is towards the Diamond Head side of Waikiki. The very beginning of Waikiki starts at the Hilton Hawaiian Village, and that's Ala Moana Bowls. And then it goes down to the end, which is right before, the Diamond Head break. Like Kaimana Beach is kind of where I cut it off. And Publix is right in the center of the Waikiki breaks.
Nice.
And that's where I'm hosting it. It's a reef break.
Ooh.
I just thought this is going to air after she does this paddle.
Well, you know what? It doesn't have to. We can
push it up.
We can push it up.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we're gonna push this up.
Yeah, we're problem solving.
So how about you, Ashley?
I mean, whatever works. It's gonna be on Instagram at some point anyway. So
yeah, that's true.
Did you have any water interaction, Miss Ashley?
Yes. Well, Jason came to our house the other day, and I found out that he's also making a board for Ren. So we're going to be doing some couple surfing when it's done. But right now, my next class is this weekend. We've been river ratting. We bought the kids this new tube that has like 3 seats on it.
Oh, fun.
And it is so fun. You should come. Well, I'm not going to invite you ever again. I'm not doing it.
What?
No, you have to come to my house without me sending a formal invitation.
Oh, I was waiting for the formal invitation.
She's being a bad friend. But anyway, when you come, the kids, they sit on the tube, and sometimes I sit with them. Sometimes Ren and I just watch them, and we pull them around the river, and
their
Ani's
faces.
face is so big, and she's so excited that her little legs, she just keeps doing this, pounding them on the float because she's so excited, arms up. And Cape, our little boy, he's 3, he catches air. So every time he goes around a curve, he bounces off of the float, and it's really, really cute to watch.
So what your next freediving class is when?
This weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you haven't signed up now, forget it.
Oh yeah, it's full. Don't do it. Don't do it.
And for me, post-session notes was in the water yesterday and the day before. No, not yesterday. The day before yesterday. And old friends, the friends that I learned to surf with were out. Even a few people that have been out of town or out with a knee injury. And that was refreshing.
Like your original crew?
The original, the OG.
The ones that were pushing you into the waves?
Well, they were just yelling for me, But we were at the South End break, which is a pier break. We're all beach break here. We don't have any reef. So just good times. Catching up with people was just as important as catching waves.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was nice.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Warm fuzzies all around.
Yeah. Okay. Elizabeth, a little pressure here.
yes.
Did you
ready.
bring the injustice of the week?
Oh gosh, guys, it's the injustice of the century.
Exactly.
Well, we were pretty sure we were lobbing
it's
you
not
a
just
softball
the
here.
week.
Tell us, what is the injustice of the century?
I think it's that only really like teenage women have ever been represented in surfing as far as the media is concerned. And then I would go on to say that, beginners and intermediate surfers have never had a place in surf imagery and surf culture because it's an elitist sport that conditions everyone to believe you have to be the best of the best to have any form of representation in surfing.
Which is the opposite of the best surfer in town. The best surfer is the one having the most fun.
Absolutely. It really is. And, for me, that's my whole thing. It's trying to kind of democratize the media of surfing so that more people can be represented in it. I think obviously social media has had a huge role to play in that because, now we have GoPros and cameras and our own broadcast stations, so to speak. But, people with influence, like real influence, the people that can push images out to large populations of people are still hesitant to share those of surfers that are not on the competitive circuits.
I agree.
Gotcha.
Well, is that the same for freediving as well?
Yeah, well, freediving, since it is very elitist and it's a small niche, so I would say that there probably are more images of people that are beginning or intermediate level, not just the elite athletes, because basically nobody is an elite athlete in freediving, unlike
You.
surfing. But I mean, as far as the variety of photos that you get, it's going to be very similar to surfing. Like, there are no photos of me. And when we're doing competitions and stuff, there may be one of me like really excited or on the podium or something like that, but they're not capturing me under the water doing things other than during the action, because I'm not I guess particularly photogenic, or
I
I'm
think you
not.
are.
Aw, you're my friend.
Yeah.
Well,
Friendship.
see, that's also what we've got to address, is that there's this requirement of beauty to even be photographed in the water. And that's what causes you to even say that.
Right.
You know?
There is that. And then also in my bathing suits and stuff, it's nothing.
Mom bod.
Yeah, like I've had a couple kids or whatever, so it's not what they're. I could perform the best, and still they're like, oh, well, look at this over here, you know, and just everything's hypersexualized, so you miss out on all of the kind of details and precious moments in the sport
That's
because
too
of that
bad.
sometimes. Mm-hmm.
Well, I wonder, I mean, I've had that similar feeling. I mean, I worked in film business for a while, and actually we're going to be shooting a little short film. But I remember sitting in a group, like I was an extra with a friend of mine's production. And the person that was directing, I actually knew him. But I remember him taking me out of the shot.
Yeah.
And moving in someone younger and prettier.
Yeah.
And skinnier. You know, and I was like, I mean, I felt it right in my heart, you know, like,
because you knew.
I knew exactly what was going on.
What he was doing. Yeah.
And I thought, wow, I guess this is just the pretty area.
Right.
or whatever. It was just, you know, it stunk.
We all have those experiences. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, my goal is to try to get as many women in front of cameras as possible, because I think not only are the women conditioned to believe that they're not photogenic enough, they're not worthy enough, deserving enough, skilled enough. I mean, just fill in the adjective blank. But the photographers are also conditioned to only be rewarded for certain types of photography too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it is a two-way street. You've got the women adhering to this self-inflicted societal shame and not even willing to step up to take the photos and, you know, present themselves to the world on camera. But then you've also got photographers being rewarded for only presenting the most beautiful images of women, even if they're less skilled or talented, because that's what they're being sponsored, or society is liking the most.
Or why
so they're not even giving any right. So they're not even giving other body types, other women of different platforms really a chance, unless they're absolutely exceptional and have garnered a lot of attention for being exceptional without looking the part. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. Yeah. And there's one image in freediving that you're going to get. I mean, there's a lot of like mermaid shots on the bottom, but you're going to get the one where, fill in the blank with the freediver. It doesn't matter who it is. It's just someone off the street, but she's cruising in front of the camera, and it's got to be the butt shot.
Yeah.
That's it. It's
yeah,
like,
butt shots are critical in freediving.
Yeah, I see the cheeks.
Are you
almost
even a
the vagina.
freediver if you don't have two butt cheeks in the lens?
Probably not.
I think that's why I don't have any photos. I've never been.
It's almost a requirement.
Yeah, it really is.
So
That's
I think
the shot.
this kind of moves us right on into the dive deeper.
Yeah, let's do it.
And Elizabeth, I remember, I think it was maybe in one of your rants, which I thoroughly enjoyed after a shopping expedition, where you mentioned that you were in political science and you had actually been maybe a lobbyist. Or tell us a little bit about kind of that, and then moving into this arena and using that skill.
Yeah, so I studied, and I have 3 degrees. One is in international business politics. So that's a combination of an international business degree combined with global political science. And I took that and went to Washington, D.C. to study foreign policy, because I wanted to be a diplomat for the United Nations.
This is not just a pretty face.
Yeah, I know. It really shocks people. People don't expect this level of intellectualism from a surfer, I think.
We get
but
yes. We get judged all the time.
I know it's just not, people don't, put these two things together. Like, you wanted to be a diplomat in the United Nations and now you're a full-time surfer. Like, yeah, that's just how life works, I guess. So I did actually go to Switzerland and studied French full-time and did get to do a short stint at the UN. And then I went to Washington, D.C. to continue that and study foreign policy. And there weren't any positions at the State Department or the White House in foreign policy available for interns. And so I ended up getting placed in this defense boutique lobbying firm. And there's two schools of thought with foreign policy. You're either going to war or you're negotiating peace. So I ended up going the war route with defense lobbying. And
she's a warrior.
That surprises me. That seems outside of her personality from what I see anyway.
I don't know. I think she's a warrior by nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on who you ask, but I definitely I would consider myself a warrior in a lot of ways. So I ended up going down this defense lobbying route, and I did that for several years. I did a full 1-year internship in Washington, D.C. So I worked in high-level security clearance intelligence, and then I did, like a bunch of projects for the top, like Northrop Grumman and I mean, all the major defense organizations that have contracts with the U.S. government, lobbied that, and then came back to Arizona to graduate college, ended up working for Senator John McCain's reelection campaign for a full year alongside him and his team as a field organizer. And that's where I got my foundation in grassroots campaigning. And that grassroots campaigning foundation that I had is what led me to structure Curvy Surfer Girl the way that I have. So that's the connection between, a lot of the advocacy work I did, which then ended up segmenting into becoming an environmental lobbyist and activist. So I would lobby state and federal governments for renewable energy, to keep public lands public. Oftentimes people don't realize, but a lot of private corporations and entities are consistently advocating to make our public lands private so that they can do large developments on them. So in places like Montana, Yellowstone Park, Grand Canyon, there's a lot of renewable resources in those space because they're open lands, and people can develop housing or renewable energy projects and put large solar farms or wind panels. And a lot of the work that I did was to help keep those spaces wild and conserved for future generations. So anyways, all of that led to me understanding how grassroots advocacy really works, because you have to have the public behind you to accomplish many of these goals. And even the simple fact of getting someone elected to public office on a large scale, like the United States Senate, you have to really help people understand and persuade them to elect a certain candidate that's a visionary for your entire state and then ultimately your country. So I used those skills to create Curvy Surfer Girl so that we could mobilize as a community, as a country, and as women around the world to create this level of change on a large scale.
Well, and really you're building little pockets of communities where people are feeling more empowered because of your images.
That was always my intention. I mean, the images on my page are really a reflection of my spirit, my soul. They're my own version of art. I always wanted to be an artist when I was a little girl. That was a dream of mine. And I didn't really know how to paint or draw. So obviously that kind of just died, unfortunately. But as I got older, I found it through modeling and creating images.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I channel that now.
I love it.
You can learn a lot. Laurel does our Instagram page. You can learn a lot from
I know. I'm taking notes.
You need to be studying.
I need to go
This
get
is
my
full-time
political
job,
science
ladies.
degree.
Trust me.
She has all these, and I believe from your some of your conversations that you've hired a lot of the photographers that are taking your pictures. It hasn't been something that, oh, let me take your picture. It's been, I'm hiring you to do these images so that we can build this thing. So it's been a big investment on your part.
It's actually been a giant investment. I've probably invested, at this point, a year later, I can confidently say at least $10,000, maybe more. I'm just being conservative. But yeah, my first photo shoot ever was almost $1,000.
Yeah.
So that alone right there off the top was just
Wow.
$1,000 to get it started.
But do you
Because I knew, what's that?
do you get people now that are wanting to
Participate.
volunteer time to move you along? Female photographers that are just like, hey, yeah, let's do this.
I have very high quality standards for my photography. And I know that this sounds a little bit crazy, or I don't know, something
Uppity.
a little bit elitist of me.
Elitist.
Yeah. As we would call it in Hawaii, hi maka maka.
Here comes this high maka maka talk. Let's do it.
Yeah. But you know, it's the quality images on Instagram and the internet that get attention. If you're taking amateur level photography, you are not going to get noticed.
That's right.
People with GoPros, you know, with like grainy images and dark editing, it's just not going to go anywhere.
Well, that's your,
and it doesn't capture people's imagination.
not when Instagram is all about the photo, you know, so that's a good, you know, to put your money in the photography is the smart play.
Yeah. I mean, what I've done now, I mean, I'm always down to collaborate with people, but I just tell them I can't always use the images because I have a very specific, you know, quality that I need to present to the world because I'm really one of the primary public figures in this space. And the quality has to be there so that when people do reshare it or they print it in publications like magazines and various sources, that
I saw you in
is the
Surf Girl
reflection.
Mag. I saw you in Surf
Yeah,
Girl Mag.
I was in Surf Girl Mag. Condé Nast magazine just did a big article about 6 weeks ago. It's been amazing. There's been so many publications, I can't even remember them all. I've been published around the world now too. Like a big Spanish surf magazine put me in their edition, a German magazine. There's just so
Awesome.
many images of me all over the internet now. I just try to make sure they're quality images. That way when people see them and they're associating a plus size surfer with this movement, you know, it's a legitimate feeling. It's not something that was half-assed.
Right.
And I wanted
Like
to project
us.
that to the world because it
Talking about
helps
us.
bring legitimacy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call us
Half-ass podcast.
PS half-ass P.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so, ladies. You got a very your audience can't see this, but it's actually a quite professional setup.
Oh, yeah, thanks to Billy.
Yeah. Thanks, Billy.
You know, I read about in I guess it was American Way in Flight magazine. There was another girl who was doing travel photos, like her. I'm sure Elizabeth, you've maybe seen that girl, but it's a similar concept. Why aren't there images of curvy girls like at the Grand Canyon or hiking or doing these like outdoorsy fun things in travel? And so that captured my imagination. So when you said, hey, there's Curvy Surf Girl, I thought, wow, that's cool. I was just reading about something like that. But same thing. It's all about the images.
Well, I was excited. Also, you have talked a lot about buying clothes in the, you know, beach vibe, whether it's, you know, the beach or the surf brands like Roxy or Rip Curl or,
Forget about it.
you know, but then I love that you've taken lemons and you're making lemonade. She's made her own. She's produced a t-shirt, the Curvy Surf Girl shirt.
I saw that.
Which is super cute. I was super bummed that my size sold out, like, gone. I'm going to be a first one up on the next
You
roster.
got the most popular size.
Right, large.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very popular.
So I want to hear what's next because I'm sure you're not stopping at the t-shirt, and a little bit about that, like your
experiences trying to fit into a bathing suit that is
made
super
for
cute,
a child.
but made for a child. Because I want to say something.
Yeah,
real quick.
I mean, go ahead.
Can I say something? I know, like, sometimes when we're talking, and Laurel, you might be like, oh, I'm getting a little weight or something like that. And you might want to roll your eyes at me because you think I look thin. It doesn't matter what your body type is. Most women do struggle with these kind of image issues and things like that. And I'll have to say, I haven't fit into one of these major surf brand ever. Even in high school, I'd put one on and go, what in the crap? It's got to cover just slightly a little more real estate or not make me look like I have a dozen muffins over the top. Like, fit it.
I can't.
I don't mind a little muffin top, but there is a way to do muffin top right.
Yeah.
You know, where it's just not like, what the crap? So anyhow, continue, Elizabeth.
Yeah. So I started surfing at my heaviest. I was about 210 pounds, 5 feet tall. So definitely very overweight from an autoimmune condition I've had since I was a teenager called psoriasis. I have a pretty severe form of it. People don't realize it's an autoimmune disease. So it's not just affecting your skin, it's really affecting a lot of internal operation systems in your body. So I gained a lot of weight from that. And at my heaviest in my life, I started surfing. And there was no way I was ever going to get to wear anything that a surf brand produced. It just wasn't in the cards. And I had forgotten all about that because I started surfing so much and I was in the right environment for my body that I dropped down to 150 pounds. So I lost 60 plus pounds.
That's just surfing.
Yeah.
Just surfing. Yeah, I didn't really change my diet or do anything crazy. I just was super happy and I lost a bunch of weight. And then fast forward about a year later, that was 2018, I lost my job and had a bunch of stressful events happen. And I put 25 pounds back on. So I went from a very lean, athletic 150 to now, like a pudgier 170, 175 as a size 12, 14. And then it kind of hit me. When I was skinny, I had access to all of these things that I did not have access to just, 20 pounds heavier. And that was really when all of the wheels kind of started turning. I was like, wow, I literally can't go anywhere and really buy something that properly fits me now that I'm 20 pounds heavier.
And that's made for surfing.
Yeah, that's made for surfing. Exactly. That's marketed and made for surfing. Because there's a difference. I mean, of course, you can go to Walmart, you can go to Target, and you can buy a one piece or you can throw a t-shirt on, but you are not fitting any kind of idealized version of a surfer, throwing on an oversized t-shirt or surfing in something that's really just not designed or marketed for surfing. And it just makes you feel like crap because you're a surfer, but you don't get to participate in anything related to surfing except the actual sport itself. And a lot of times, you internalize that. I mean, because of course you're doing what you love and that's great, but you don't get to look like anybody that's surfing. You don't get to wear the cute long sleeve rash guard one pieces or, have anything that's actually designed to fit you. And it just, it just makes you feel bad about yourself. And it's an excuse to kind of feel like you don't belong to the larger community. And that was one of the things that I wanted to change. I was like, I know just from a probability standpoint, even if I've never seen it, there has got to be other women my size and larger that are surfing and doing water activities like freediving that want to have access to actual equipment built and marketed for water women. And we are completely excluded from that entire demographic of the world. And that was really the birth of Curvy Surfer Girl.
Do you, I want to hear what you have to say because I know that you might be curvier than some of your surf buddies out there, Laurel. But also, do you think that it's kind of an American problem? Because I know when I go to a competition, and I have some good South American friends where I think being larger or having a different body type is kind of okay or more okay there than it might be here. They're just out proud wearing their bathing suits. Sorry about that, everybody. And I just find that they have a different kind of
view on body image.
Yeah, like everything's okay with them.
It's not uptight.
No, and we're uptight.
We're very uptight.
Do you think it has to do with just, you think it is an American issue, or do you see it kind of globally?
It's absolutely global. I think that people celebrate different body types in other
Mm-hmm.
countries, but this problem is global. I have one of my largest followings is in Brazil and Australia, and then
Oh, I
the
would
other
not.
one is in the UK.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Those are my top three demographics. It's Hawaii, the UK, Australia, and Brazil, and then Puerto Rico.
I love
So
Puerto Rico.
yeah. And I mean, those are populations where women are just naturally kind of built more
Bodacious.
similar to myself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
They just, I mean, we have like bigger quads and hips, and
Mhm.
we're just sturdy women.
Mhm.
And it's while women wear more revealing things in Latin America, they're not also necessarily participating in hardcore sports like surfing or
Right.
freediving or scuba diving. They're, you know, they're shown on the beach, or they're
Mhm.
shown at like carnival.
Yeah. Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and there's a
That's
difference
true.
between wearing like a triangle string thong bikini to go tanning, and then surfing, which is a high impact sport,
Mhm.
where your body is making, you know, serious contact with a hard surface, taking on big waves that can easily rip clothing off of you that's not really in place.
Yeah.
There,
She's
there's a very
describing how
big
I surf.
difference.
You're describing how I surf. Yeah. You don't know anything about that, Laurel.
What?
Me. Yeah. That's how I surf.
Yeah, she does not surf big waves. She's just crossing over to the surf,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
surf side of things. But
I do
Well,
like
I mean,
that.
a 3 foot wall of white water coming at you really hard is
yes,
still a big wave. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
enough force and pressure to throw you off your board and rip your swimsuit off of you.
oh
No,
yeah,
I think the sports bra is the best the best surf the best surf attack. It stays on, it's tight. You're like, yeah, I got this.
So a friend of mine was, went with a more experienced surfer to Puerto
Yeah.
Rico, and so they were out at a break called Wilderness, which has like it's a reef. You have to go through a little keyhole to get out, and
Excuse me.
it was big, and so the keyhole's even harder when it's big.
Mhm.
So when she was coming in, a wave just took her, brought her on shore without
Naked.
the suit. Yeah.
Yep.
That happens.
Yep.
So I have something else to ask you girls though. I feel like you know, obviously you're going to see only skinny people and represented in high octane sports and magazines, this kind of thing. But I feel like there's a movement now where it's okay not to be stick thin, like you're allowed to be muscular. So that's kind of the new popular body type is I'm really, really thin, but I've got biceps,
Mm-hmm.
but still no curvy people. Do you feel like that's true? Is that a new thing going on?
I mean, I certainly see it
think
in
so.
the workout yoga movement. You know, this, you know, they're thin, but they're muscular.
They're thin, but they're super muscular. And that's great because that's kind of empowering. It's like, oh, yeah, you want to be
I'm
strong.
strong.
But I still feel like it's a body type where the body's not working for you. You're working for the body.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still just very much about the external,
Mm-hmm.
even though there's a kind of a movement to make it internal. I'm a strong, but it's
Mhm.
still an external
What do you
kind of
think?
thing.
Elizabeth?
Honestly, I think the major trend right now is moving towards body positivity and just seeing a diversity of bodies. That is really where the marketing money and dollars are flowing right now, because that's what women want to see and that's what women want to buy from companies that are
Mm-hmm.
on this modern stream of consciousness. You know, Somersault is a big company that
Mhm.
recently did a huge campaign that had women with prosthetics, you know, spanning the sizes from extra small to double, quadruple XL. And that made headlines around the world.
That's
And
awesome.
they sell a ton of products. And I think a lot of companies are trying to include diversity, even if just to get on the trend while it's hot now. But I really don't think this trend is going anywhere, because women of the world are just ready to be embraced by the fashion universe.
Well,
they have money to spend.
Yes, they do.
And also, women are doing more things. They're playing more sports. They're not just tanning.
Well, I love a couple of things. One is that it's not just body positivity, but it's also embracing the newbie, feeling welcome to try the sport, which, not only is body positivity and incorporating not just the professionals, but everybody, which would include, diversity in color as well. But also, I would say, since I've looked not just looked at your photos, but been a part of the Curvy Surf Girl page and your movement in whatever small capacity from my little neck of the woods in eastern North Carolina, I'm seeing things different. You've changed how I see not just other people, but myself. And so I feel like women are so critical of themselves, no matter, it doesn't matter if you're thin. I think people, especially young women, are thinking in terms of, oh, I need to change this. And I just feel like you are doing something super powerful. And I want you to know that it's not just impacting, here and there. I feel like it's impacting, whoever's involved is getting impacted. Like, I didn't even realize I was being impacted until recently.
Yeah.
And it's changed how I'm seeing myself.
I agree. I agree, Laurel, because you might see Curvy Surfer Girl and think, oh, well, I'm not curvy. It doesn't apply to me. But it impacts all women, because we're all kind of struggling with those. Like you said, even really thin girls are thinking, how do I change this? How do I make this better? How do I... So
well, and I think I don't know that we know even just the power of seeing the images, like what is going before our eyes, because it's only been this one thing that's okay or beautiful or acceptable. You've already changed that. Like already, just because we're seeing the images, it has broadened the horizon and has felt wonderful. And I feel like I can't even imagine how wonderful it's feeling for the 15-year-old mind or the 17-year-old mind.
Oh, I'm gonna almost cry, girls. That's really beautiful. Thank you. I mean, I knew that when I did this, it had never been done before. I had never seen someone like me. And trust me, when I say I hadn't, I mean, I scoured the internet for months before I launched this movement. And there were a handful of women that were asked to pose with surfboards as plus size models. And it's very different to see a plus size model posing with a shortboard than it is to see someone who's plus size that truly surfs and loves to surf and is on the waves, like actually surfing.
Yes.
There's a very different psychological component, because it hits you that it's real and that you can do it, and that it's not just a conceptual, theoretical idea. It's like you can really surf as a plus size woman. And now there's images and evidence that prove that.
Yeah.
Right. And also without so much airbrushing in the awkward positions, that we're all worried
I swear to
about.
God, one of my photographers, he literally smooths my skin so much I have to scold him. I'm like, Rolliver, it's okay. They can see the texture on my skin, buddy. Like,
yeah.
I have to scold because he's so used to working with like LA Instagram models.
Yeah.
He just does it to everybody. But I scold him about that. I'm like, Rolliver, it's okay, buddy. Like,
you can go ahead and take
some
that
of these.
spot.
Like, it's fine. He doesn't ever take any of my like cellulite or stretch marks or psoriasis away, but on my face he'll sometimes make it like crazy smooth. I'm like, Rolliver, it's okay, buddy.
But see, I would like that.
Yeah,
this morning I would have done this.
I know.
Just a little bit. and
He
change
gives
the
me like a
color.
digital facelift every photo shoot we do. I'm like, it's
Nice.
okay, buddy. Like,
Yeah, but thanks. Wink, wink.
So, as we move into, we always do a little Devo at the end.
Mhm.
And when I was thinking about, meeting with you, I was thinking about, in the Bible, which we read, is a lot of stuff about women. And some of it has been taken out of context and
Mhm.
used to oppress women. And so this one quote was in part like, more about, not letting the outer part of your body be as important as what's on the inside.
That's what I'm talking about.
And that's all good.
Yeah.
So it ends with like, but let the adorning be the hidden person of the heart with the imperishable beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which in God's sight is very precious. And in my life as a outspoken kind of,
Loudmouth.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Mhm.
Gentle
I'm right
always
there with you, honey.
right. Gentle's always rubbed me the wrong way. Like gentle. Okay, Lord, just make me gentle because I'm not. But I came across in what we have as a concordance that actually goes back to the Greek word, and I was surprised to find that that word gentle, meekness, actually differs from the usual connotation of the English word gentle. And according to Aristotle, it is the middle standing between two extremes. One, getting angry without reason, and then not getting angry at all. It is a balance born in strength of character, stemming from confident trust in God, not from weakness or fear. And I just love the idea. When I think of you, I think of the person who you saw an injustice and you, instead of just, raging over something that wasn't important or staying quiet about something that was important, you stood in the gap and you stepped forward and you said, not on my watch. I'm going to do something. And so I feel like that is not done enough today. And I feel like a lot of times as women who believe in God and read the scripture are confused at times. Like, what does that mean? Like, do I need to be, not say anything, or I just need to
seems
smile?
Quiet.
Yeah.
Meek seems. It sounds like weak.
Right.
So it's a really hard concept to understand and to teach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meekness is different though. I like how you wrote it out here.
I mean, that's probably one of the highest compliments I've ever received.
Go girl.
I mean, I view myself almost as like a Joan of Arc,
Yeah.
crusading through a battlefield of injustice. And, it's hard because being in the public eye, everyone has an opinion about you and they're going to tell you about it. And the thing is, all you can do is have a true heart through the whole process of it. And I think that it's very empowering for women to see all parts of me, the angry side, the sad side, the happy, joyous side, the side that is standing up to large multi-million dollar corporations and saying for the first time, really, at least in my conscious mind, this is not okay. And of course these brands, a lot of them are interested in working with me and sponsoring me. And I have to have very hard conversations that sometimes have gone public, and I just have to say, you have to be prepared to do more authentically, because it's not just about me. If it was just about me, I would have said yes, I would have taken your money, and I would have run with the fame of it. And it's a calculated risk, but to stand up to something for the moral principle of it is something that will last on longer than I will be able to surf physically. And that is the legacy that I want to leave. It's a legacy that's going to empower millions of women now and that come after me. And if I sell out because I want the fame for the next 5 years, then I won't be able to achieve that on an authentic level. And I won't be able to communicate that to the people leading these corporations that are eventually going to leave that legacy to the next generation that inherit that corporate responsibility.
Well, then you just become the plus size model with the short bird posing on the beach, or the token curvy girl for their agenda now, instead of
the long
yeah,
haul.
the long haul.
So what can we
Right.
as listeners, we like to give our audience some homework. So, and we have guys and girls that listen to this
Yeah.
podcast, women. So, what is our homework?
Give us some homework.
I think the best thing that we can do as women is use our voice. People really do not realize how powerful their voices are. And as someone who is an advocate, lobbyist, as a career professional, I literally would get into the community and just say, do you realize like you can directly influence policy by just speaking out about what you want to see happen and donate your ideas. A lot of people think that they're just one little voice and that it doesn't matter. But when you use that voice in combination in a collective nature with other people, and you go to the companies that are making these decisions about women surfing, and you write a comment and you leave it publicly, everyone in that organization, if it's left and done well and you've thought it out, is going to talk about it. They're going to see it and they are going to respond to it. And the more of them that there are, the more that it's impossible to avoid that discussion and ignore it.
I think we could go locally to our surf shops and say, hey, I'd like to see some more sizes past,
Absolutely.
the large being a size 5.
Right. Like I'm buying.
No,
from
it's
Asia
the honest to God truth. This message applies at every level, locally and globally.
Yeah.
Using your voice is the most powerful tool that you have as a person on this planet. And how you're using that is going to determine how we're all living. And the more we can come together and collectively use it for a singular purpose in whatever it is, whether it's environmental justice, whether it's racial justice, in this case, for representation within women's surfing, it's powerful and it works. It literally does create a catalyst of change that's tangible. So whether it is your local surf shop and asking them to carry sizes because there's women in the community that want to be involved in surfing and they can't be because you're ignoring them, or whether it's going on the Instagram or social media pages of major corporations and saying you can do better, that is the most powerful piece of advice that I can impart on your audience, is to encourage them to do that.
Yeah, and I would say even if you're one of our guys that are listening and you have a daughter,
don't get me started.
You don't think that you can't use your voice as well to be an advocate.
It starts young.
Yeah.
This cycle of body shaming and everything, it starts really young. Yeah, so being a good example for your children too.
Yeah. Well, and I just want to thank you, Elizabeth, for joining us. It's this morning for us, but it's midnight for you, or almost 1 o'clock now.
We did get the best of her, didn't we?
We did.
She got the worst of us.
Yeah.
I feel guilty.
Oh, stop. No, I did not, ladies. You both are brilliant and exceptionally thoughtful women. I'm honored to be part of this.
Thank
Aw.
you.
You know what I was thinking when she was talking about homework? Not to drag it on,
Okay.
but she was talking about homework, and I thought, how can I use my voice? And I'm like, wait a minute, we got a podcast.
Yeah.
How can I use my voice? You are literally living the example of my homework.
Well, it's 6 a.m. here.
Yeah.
You really are empowering women. I mean, think about all of the people that you're reaching through these messages that you're sharing and people's stories. And what you don't even understand too is that somebody could listen to this and they could think of something that's never been thought of before, or they could approach a problem in a whole new way just because they listened to this segment. And that's how you change the world.
And I think the world is ready, because I think you're proof of that. But I also see, we've interviewed, like CJ Hobgood would be a professional, big surfer. And he was ears open. Like, he specifically asked, hey, with all this stuff going on about women and, oppression or, power exchanges where somebody of power and belittles women or whatever, how do you feel about it? So I felt like that we are, there is maybe in part from your movement, but also other women's movements that's reaching a kind of a tipping point.
Yeah, and understanding where
and people are more open. Hopefully,
the wax is falling out of the ears.
Yes,
like your dream.
Okay, we won't go into that, but let's just say everybody, thank you so much for listening. Elizabeth, thank you so much for
Thanks, Elizabeth.
coming on with us. And hey, if you are not a Post Session Podcast newsletter subscriber, go onto our website, go to our Instagram page, sign up. And of course, we do free events. We've done breathwork classes. We did movie night. So be on the lookout for our next event. And thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, and if you have some time, go to curvysurfergirl.com, buy
Absolutely.
a t-shirt, and maybe sign up for one of her retreats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or classes or meetups.
Or whatever.
Yeah, because she's amazing.
Do all of those things, people.
Mahalo nui loa to your audience, and thank you to both of you as well.
Mahala. Wait, is that how you say it?
Hello.
Mahalo.
Mahalo. Beautiful.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Stay on.
Aloha.